Hey guys, Tom here with Suburban Ghost Society, and I'm back with you today to talk to you about CCTV cameras used during a paranormal investigation. Now, I know that for years paranormal investigators have been using CCTV cameras during investigations, and it seemed to be one of those go-to devices that were always on an investigation. And I think the main reason for that is you can't be everywhere. You can't be in every room of a location or every floor of a location to capture evidence. And I think this allowed us to capture the entire location or several areas of the location at one time, and hoping in the event that we capture something. So what have we caught with our CCTV cameras? We've caught bats and cats and rats and bugs and lots of funny stuff that the team's doing during an investigation or during setup. So let me just show you some of the footage. Check it out. So CCTV cameras play a huge part in documenting our experience during a paranormal investigation. Now, I'm not saying every time out that we capture stuff on the cameras, but at the very least, it's documenting that experience. So when you go back and you put it all together, you have something in your memory bank that you can share for years to come. Now, there's lots of controversy around orbs, dust, bugs that you capture with CCTV cameras. And being that the cameras are shooting IR, infrared, it's very common for you to catch dust particles, bugs, and that kind of thing. What we look for in cameras is intelligent movement of that orb or dust particle. And we present that as unexplained. It's not the orb introducing itself to us saying, hey, I'm an orb, but we list it as unexplained because it's truly that. We can't explain that movement. So one of the other things that you can do with your CCTV cameras are set them up in strategic areas around activity. If you're experiencing something during an investigation, you're going to want as many cameras on it as possible. So setting them up to shoot a device that's lighting up during questioning or a specific session will allow you to capture that evidence on a camera. Now, we use a portable night vision camera also to document during investigations. This system will cover areas where you are not. One of the things that you have to remember is this system needs power to run. And if you're in a location that doesn't have power, it's going to require you to have a generator. Generators are loud. They need to be far distance away from the location, otherwise it'll contaminate all your audio. There's also some scenarios where you're going to want to shut the power off. That's kind of the way that we like it. We like it raw. We don't want no power, no lights, no nothing. We want it to be completely dead in there. This way we can better validate our experiences that we do catch. So let's talk about the system that Suburban Ghost Society uses. This is a GW HD 1080p SDI system. It's an 8-channel system with 8 cameras, and the package included cable for all 8 cameras. So what we had to do is purchase additional cable to get us further distances. So we purchased longer stretches, 100-footers, and couplings, where you can couple 2 cables together to extend out. So if you have a 100-footer and a 60-footer, you put them together, you have 160 feet. And it will really help you get to those far distant areas. This is the DVR, and this DVR has a 2 TB hard drive, and that hard drive will store all your footage during recording. And it'll hold roughly, 2 TB will hold roughly 10 to 12 investigations, depending on how long the investigations are. So that seems like a lot, but when you're a busy team like us, you will constantly be recording over old data. So what we do is we dump this information onto portable storage drives that are much larger. So I'm sure this system is very similar to most that are out there. They're mainly all plug and play, meaning you hook up the cameras and they'll pop up on the monitor. And you simply set your recording parameters and you are ready to go. So let me talk about the DVR a little bit more. It does come with a remote control, which I don't use, and it has a mouse that hooks up in the front here, and in the back you will see all the B and C connections right here, and they're numbered 1 through 8, and then here is the display hookup for the monitor, and then right here is a USB port where you can hook up to download your data onto a storage drive or even a laptop, where you could dump it onto there and be able to view the footage and edit accordingly. This is where you plug in your power supply and then the switch to turn it on. And then over here is your audio hookups, and they are numbered the same as the cameras. So if you're plugging an RCA plug into them with a microphone on the cord, you can pick up audio. And the monitor itself is just a basic computer monitor. It has a very clean picture. Any monitor would do. I do recommend that you properly store these in cases. You can see the case underneath here is the storage container for the DVR. It also has a compartment for all the cables, the mouse, etc. And the monitor, I have a foam sleeve that slides over the top of it, and it protects it during transport to an investigation. So that's highly recommended. So let's talk about the cameras and setup. We have 8 cameras, and I store them in these cases, 4 cameras each, and we're able to carry them around and not get them damaged because of the well-protected cases. They work very well for us. They're very affordable. You can pick these up at like Sam's Club for like 20 bucks if you catch them on sale. One of the biggest challenges I saw early on with cameras was how to mount them or how to set them up for an investigation. And I've seen some pretty primitive ways of mounting them. So I developed my own way to do it, and I want to share that with you. So what I did was I made a plate. It is roughly 2.5 inches square, and I drilled a center hole and I tapped it the same thread size, 1/4-20, as a camera shoe. And this specific shoe is for this Ravelli tripod that you see here. And by drilling and tapping that, I'm able to screw this into it. And I added an additional hole for that spring button on the shoe for stabilizing. So you simply just put it in the hole, screw it in, and get it good and tight. These cameras are like $100 a piece, so you do not want your camera falling off a tripod and breaking. So once you get it secured to the plate, then you simply just take the camera, and this particular camera has a little foam base on it and a little cutout for the wire, for the cable. So you make sure that it's sitting in there. You take your plate, you set it over it, and add your screws. And I just use 2 screws. I don't think it's necessary to do anything more than that. But if you want 4, you can add 4. So once it's complete and on there, very sturdy setup, then you can simply just put it into the tripod and lock it down in there, and it's not going anywhere. It's not going to fall off. Now you're ready to go. Now your camera's all ready to go on a tripod. You can put it at this level. You can extend the legs on the tripod to get a higher shot. You can even make adjustments to the level on the camera. And then the cameras also come with set screws in different areas, so you can turn the heads of the cameras on different angles, or up and down if you want. Mainly you can make all the adjustments that you need with the tripod. So let's talk about setting your cameras up. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you know exactly where you want all your cameras. So we will either draw a map, do a walkthrough, and put some tape down where we want our cameras, or just a quick walkthrough of the place and coming to an agreement on where cameras should be. You also want to make sure that your cameras are in the areas with the most activity. So once you've determined that, you're going to want to set up your tripods, add your cameras to them, and then put the cameras where the team has agreed to put them. Once all the cameras are in place, then you can take your rolls of cable and run them from the camera to the DVR. Now, many of the locations that we've been to have a specific area that has power, maybe a fold-out table that allows us to set up our DVR, our monitor, and we can run all our cable to them. And my best advice is to run it from the camera to the DVR, and then any extra cable that you have, you can store it underneath the table. You also have to keep in mind the lengths of cable that you need. So we've identified ours with labels on our spools that we store our cables on. And this one has the gray tape, electrical tape on it. I've added this colored tape to help me identify the lengths of cable. And I have 30 feet, 60 feet, and 100 feet. And when you have 8 cameras hooked up and cables running everywhere, if you were to get a bad cable, you'd be able to quickly identify it by the color. You know, if it's hooked up to the camera, it's not working. You hooked up to the DVR, still not working. You can quickly identify it's gray up there, it's gray down there, that's the bad cable. And unfortunately, when you're using these cables repetitively like this, you are going to damage cable. So my best advice there is to make sure that you have additional cable with you. So these are all what they call B and C hookups, this little connection right here. And here's the camera's B and C hookup, and you simply just put it inside of it and push and twist, and it's connected. The other part of the cable is your power, to get power to the camera. So you're going to take that and plug that into your power line on your camera, and you just simply push it in there. Now you're all ready to go. This camera could run to the DVR, plug into the DVR, and it'll come right up on the monitor. And once you have all your cameras in place and all your cable ran, you're going to have to clean up that cable. You want to prevent trip hazards so someone don't trip and hurt themselves during an investigation. So my best advice is to tuck all the wire next to the baseboards, behind furniture, to help you get it out of the way. And then once you've done that and all the exposed areas where trip hazards could happen, use painter's tape. Now this is a 2-inch painter's tape, and it works best for us. Some helpful tips there are to make sure you scrub the floor of dust before you lay down the tape, and you simply want to tape right over the cable and tape it down to the floor. You try to avoid doorways or common walkways with multiple cables, because that will be a trip hazard. But sometimes you can't avoid it, so using the tape is your best bet. So once you have all your cameras in place, your cables in place, it's all tight and nice and neat, then you're going to want to adjust all your cameras. They should all pop up on the monitors, as you can see right here. And then once they're up and you need to make adjustments, use a set of walkie-talkies, have somebody walk to each camera, and you can tell them on the walkie-talkie what adjustments you'd like to make. Sometimes we're lifting up or down, side to side, whatever the case may be, so the shot is level and clean. Now here are a few tips to help you with your DVR setup. Make sure you double check when you put the camera on the tripod that it's locked in and it's not going to fall off. Keep in mind, that's over $100 worth of camera. When setting up your DVR, make sure as soon as you power it on that you set the time and the date of the investigation. And then this way the entire team can sync all their audio devices to that time and date. You're going to want to also go into the DVR and edit each camera and name them specifically for the room that they're in. An example of that would be living room, basement, upstairs, bedroom 1. These cameras do offer a different type of cable that will allow you to run a microphone to them. And it's been my experience with this particular setup that the audio quality is just not there. So my best advice for you to use voice recorders with your cameras. Don't forget to clean the lenses before every investigation. So let's talk about reviewing the footage. So what we like to do during an investigation is to have somebody sitting on the monitors observing each camera live. They also have a walkie-talkie by them, so in the event that they do see something, they can communicate that to the team that's running a session. You can also add a shotgun mic to the session and run the cable back to home base where the person is observing the cameras, and they can wear headphones and listen in on your session. And again, they can get on the walkie-talkie and let you know if they hear something. The other thing you need to remember about CCTV is they have IR cameras. Now these particular cameras can shoot up to about 90 feet. So, positioning them in the right areas is important so that they can see that distance. And you also do not want to have them looking at each other, because the IR from both of them will just white out the camera. So you never want them to actually see each other. If you have them shooting into a hallway in different angles, that's acceptable, where that other IR light from that other camera can actually help you out. The other thing is you're walking around with a portable night vision camera that has IR lights on it also. So when you're walking around, be mindful of that. Make sure that you're not putting your camera into the CCTV camera. It'll affect both cameras. So if you don't have the luxury of having somebody sitting at home base watching the monitors, you're going to want to go home after an investigation and have the capability of reviewing each camera individually and looking for evidence. With this system, I'm able to bring up a single camera to fill the whole monitor screen so I can see all the detail on that camera. I also have the capability with this system to zoom in to smaller sections, to zoom in and look at real fine detail. Yes, evidence review is brutal. It's difficult to sit and watch something for several hours. So my best advice, make sure you're well rested, you're wide awake, maybe had some coffee or some 5-hour energy, and you're ready to look for some evidence. Audio, video are very difficult to sit and watch for many, many hours. But if you want to find evidence, this is the work that you're going to have to put in to do it. So this is our DVR setup, and this is kind of what paranormal investigators do to capture their experience during an investigation. I hope this helps you out. Maybe it'll give you some helpful hints on what you can do next time you're out in the field. And I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell thing, and it'll let you know the next time that I upload a video. I hope to bring you some more tech videos, giving you some more information about what we do as paranormal investigators. And again, thanks for watching. See ya.